Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at silver. It is time for another update, and today we've had a bit of a drop. Now I say a bit, it's been 12% at the high point, but yeah, we have broken today our areas of support we have been tracking for continuation to high prices within this yellow interpretation. It is a bit of a warning sign already in place, as we have nearly retraced 100% from the previous swing low we had marked here as a wave 4 in our yellow interpretation. And this isn't ideal, of course. It would have been nice to extend to higher prices directly without breaking any of our areas of support, but fortunately the break was not sustained yet. Now, already with such a break, I do see a shift in the probabilities of this structure to extend directly to higher prices, and I wouldn't consider this as the main scenario anymore without breaking some quite relevant levels of resistance, yeah? I would actually favor at this point our alternative that we presented should be the primary expectation once this area of support is broken once again. Now, to be clear, this scenario is still perfectly valid as long as we do not break below $64. However, with a sustained break below the $69 level, we would already start to see a very strong shift in probabilities. Now, this hasn't happened yet, that is why we are still able to look for the reversal. And in the previous video, we did highlight that we would ideally not break even below the $70 level, our 78.6% retracement for this idea of an ABC structure. So, all in all, currently we are still technically fine, but the directly bullish yellow scenario has taken a hit, yeah? Now, in the previous video, we were in fact still expecting to retrace lower even within a wave B correction in this area, and today we aren't going to track this interpretation in white anymore, right? We have extended lower, probably still within a wave C. I wouldn't overthink it, yeah, it is still possible for me to track this idea of an 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We could have a bottom in place. I wouldn't overthink it in the end, but we would be looking at this wave B to either have a bottom or this scenario to likely fail, yeah? If we get an extension, well, we are going to trust this scenario even less, aren't we? And where are we even going to extend? We nearly reset the wave 4 bottom. So today I actually want to bring you the updated roadmap. Our primary expectation has changed for this chart, and even though we haven't gotten a break of the wave 4 in yellow yet, we are certainly prepared to see one. And what that means is that we would be looking potentially for a more substantial top to be in place within this wave 3, but we will track this within the white interpretation, as within the yellow scenario we are still going to look for that extension. So in this idea where a wave 3 top would already be in, we would be looking to build a larger ABC pattern correction, yeah? This is the implication of having a top within the larger wave 3. And if you value these roadmaps, these ideas, these support zones, I would recommend to subscribe to our channel, as we weren't even going to do an update on silver today, but since the developments required one, we put everything aside, and if you want to be on top of these expectations, yes, subscribing might not be a bad idea. Now, in this structure, we are looking, of course, to build an ABC pattern. Since we are tracking an ending diagonal in this wave C, we typically expect to build an ABC structure within each of these subwaves. Now, of course, sometimes we do not get that last leg within the wave C, yeah, similarly with what seems to be happening in the yellow structure in this wave C to the upside, but typically we would expect to build a wave C, which means we would typically expect to build a 5-wave pattern in this area, where currently we could be looking already at a wave 3 bottom to be in. So within this structure, I am considering that we are likely looking at a diagonal pattern. So I would firstly focus on the ideal target for a wave 3, right? That is the 138.2% extension of the wave 1, and that has actually been perfectly achieved. We have stopped right there, and we have seen the strongest candle actually in this entire movement to the downside, so it is looking promising, certainly. Now, this means that we do not need to look for any further extensions for a wave 3 to be able to reliably track a wave 4 correction. So In terms of resistance for such a wave 4, I would be watching the 61.8% retracement. And this level is actually key, as if we get a sustained break above $79.8 in this case, we would have our signal that we can once again start focusing on the yellow interpretation as the primary scenario. So, as you see, with this extension to lower prices, there has been a shift. There has been an indication that this structure has a lot of pressure to extend to even lower prices and invalidate the yellow interpretation. So the pressure once again extends up to the 61.8% retracement, where a sustained break above that level would signal something more directly bullish to be going on. It would signal that this structure is likely not going to form a wave 4 and a wave 5 within this area. And then for the next resistance levels, we would actually be looking here at $90, where with a break even beyond that, it would already be a very healthy sign that a bottom would be in place. Now, in this structure, we can even look for an ideal target for the wave C, that is typically the 100% extension of the wave A, and we would be looking here at the $51 level, if you may believe that. Yeah, the $50 to $51 level. And as I say, this is the ideal target. It is certainly a level the wave C would be drawn towards, but it doesn't need to get there, right? We could very easily bottom within the 78.6% extension, which is also in line with the larger area of support for the larger wave 4 correction at $57.6. So, the white interpretation has taken charge of this chart. This is dominating against $79.8. We cannot be looking for the yellow interpretation to still be favorable. This area of support, this interpretation extends down to $57.6, and as long as this level holds, we can still look for continuation to higher prices within the larger wave 3 to the upside. Yeah, we would be looking for a wave 5, still within an ABC pattern to complete a much larger wave 3. And I would also caution you to watch out, especially for the end of this resistance level, as we have structural resistance within this region as well. We have more substantial top, even beyond the $80 level, and as we push into those highs, it might be more difficult to get a sustained break where, sure, we might get a week above this level of resistance, but without a sustained break, the probabilities aren't going to actually shift. So, within this structure, to be clear, ideally we have formed a bottom within this wave 3. It is not necessary, it is perfectly capable of extending to even lower prices, but I am able to identify a full pattern in this movement to the downside. I wouldn't overthink the internal structure, but rather focus on the large timeframe resistance levels. And if we really want, I suppose we could be looking for internal resistance within this area, just so we know we aren't building something even more bearish, something like an impulse within this structure. And for that idea, I would be watching something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in this expectation, I would like to see the 50% retracement broken that sits at $71, yeah, $70.9. If we get a sustained break above that, well, that would be a pretty good signal that the larger wave 4 correction has already started, that we aren't looking for internal extensions within this structure, which right now are still possible, although I warn you that getting those would be a high threat to the yellow interpretation. We would ideally be building a pretty sizable correction here in a wave 4 currently, where we would normally expect similar proportions with what we had in this as a wave 2, yeah? Similar dimensions in this region as well. And for now, there really isn't much else to add. I wouldn't overthink the actual structure. I would be patient to see the outcome of this movement, and what I can tell you even now, I wouldn't turn too bearish because of this drop. I would only shift my primary expectation to this white structure, and I can tell you that even beyond this idea of an extension to higher prices, what we have here in this white structure, even with the break of this area of support, I would still be able to identify an uptrend that could still track continuation to higher prices, although it might require a larger correction before looking for such prices. Yeah, a much larger dimension correction would be expected to unfold in such a case. But for now, I wouldn't overthink it. I certainly believe even the yellow interpretation to be capable of extending directly higher, but I wouldn't consider that to be even near the primary interpretation until we break $79.8. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoy our content and want to support us directly, check out our channel membership. And as a thank you for any of these actions, I would like to invite you to sign up to our channel newsletter, where you get access to our monthly top picks, where we identify for you high quality structures. Other than that, let me know what else you would like me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.